These are the children the Islamic State group left behind, stranded in a foreign country for no crime of their own. They survived the conflict, but with a lifetime of mental scarring. These kids try to find solace in one another's company. When I first met them, they barely spoke. They rarely get any visits. Stigmatized by society, these helpless, innocent victims are confined to this orphanage. I've spent a few hours here, and I just can't imagine how the children have been kept in this place for more than a year and a half without having a chance to go out except 3 or 4 times. The place is quite small, actually, only a couple of rooms here. It's hard, it's suffocating. They know nothing about the outside world. Faisal is now the only psychologist rehabilitating these children. He has spent months talking to them about their past. It was mainly through these long conversations that the Libyans managed to identify them. He still remembers how they looked like when they first arrived.
They had continuous panic attacks. They also suffered severe insomnia and urinary incontinence. They couldn't talk and lived in isolation.
Jumana is 10. Like most of the kids here, she is Egyptian. She lost both her parents and one of her 2 brothers in the fight. Now she is left with her younger brother Ismail. She tells me she misses home. I have my grandmother, my grandfather, and my uncle, she says. Do you want to see them? I ask. Yes. Do you remember your grandmother's name? She's called Aziza. For months, this is what the children were caught up in. As US and British-backed forces battled to take the city, residential areas were reduced to rubble. With small, heavy steps, some of the children trapped here were desperately looking for a way out. A local photojournalist captured the moment Jumana was rescued. The journalist took us to the spot where he stood a few meters away from the militants' families.
Some women were laughing and crying at the same time. The kids were lost. They were too hungry and thirsty. The shelling was around the clock. They were terrified. Some of the ladies had no headscarves on. Their hair was messy and they smelled horrible.
Most of the children's wider families live here in neighbouring Egypt. After weeks of research, we have managed to track down the family of Jumana and Ismail. Their grandparents and uncle tell me they haven't seen them or talked to them since they left Egypt 3 years ago.
Every time we hear a car horn, we think it's them, that they've come back. I feel they might come knocking on the door any minute.
If they tell me the kids will come back in a year, I would wait. But officials keep saying there are some procedures left. There is never any progress. I wanted to take a car and go bring them back myself, but I've been told only authorities could do so.
I showed them a video we filmed for the kids in Libya. They finally get a glimpse. Back in Libya, the children continue to wait. Talks to bring them back to Egypt have stretched on for months. Without an education or a future to look forward to, they don't know if they will ever return home. Nabil, BBC News, Misrata, Western Libya.